Autumn was settling over the farm, casting a golden haze over the rolling fields and century-old fences. The crops were heavy with harvest, the trees ablaze with amber and crimson, and the reservoir mirrored the sky in tranquil reflection. Amidst this peaceful scene, the HOA sought to impose yet another regulation, one aimed at penalizing my farm. The announcement arrived with bureaucratic precision. Fines, restrictions, and threats designed to intimidate and disrupt our operations. I read their decree carefully, noting every clause, every restriction, and every implication. This was not just an attack on property. It was an attempt to assert dominance over a life that had been meticulously built. Their regulation assumed authority without understanding, power without legitimacy, and oversight without consequence. I smiled, not with arrogance but with the quiet assurance of preparedness. I had anticipated such maneuvers, and I had a countermeasure in mind, one they would never see coming. The farm had always operated under its own set of principles, informed by decades of experience, law, and strategic planning. I reviewed the regulation, dissecting its intent and finding every potential loophole, every point of leverage. Where they sought to penalize, I could respond with policy. Where they tried to control, I could assert oversight. Their surprise would be both swift and comprehensive. I implemented the counter-policy with deliberate precision. It was subtle at first, a realignment of operational rules, adjustments to resource management, and administrative changes that seemed ordinary but carried significant weight. By the time the HOA realized, their regulation had been rendered ineffective. Not only had I neutralized their penalty, but I had also created conditions that made any future attempts at enforcement cumbersome and legally questionable. Their authority, assumed through fear and bureaucracy, dissolved against the tangible reality of preparation and strategic foresight. While their representatives scrambled to interpret the changes, I reinforced the farm's physical and administrative boundaries. Fences were repaired and fortified, records meticulously updated, and surveillance refined to prevent further unauthorized access. Each action, though seemingly minor, sent a clear message. Intrusion would meet resistance, and interference would not go unanswered. The HOA officers, accustomed to compliance and submission, were ill-prepared for this response. They expected hesitation, confusion, or panic. Instead, they encountered a farm operating with calm, deliberate efficiency. My team, livestock, and even the land itself became agents of deterrence, embodying both resilience and readiness. Every path, every waterway, every field was organized to demonstrate that the farm's operations were under complete control, impervious to arbitrary sanctions. By evening, the sun had dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the fields. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of harvested grain and damp earth. I walked along the perimeter, observing the results of my strategy. The HOA's regulation had no power here. Their authority, based on assumption rather than legitimacy, had been countered with knowledge, planning, and decisive action. The farm remained sovereign, its operations uninterrupted, and its legacy secure. The lesson was clear and enduring. Bureaucratic attempts to impose control can be clever in design, but they falter against preparation, foresight, and the unyielding assertion of rightful authority. While the HOA had sought to penalize, I had anticipated, countered, and neutralized their effort, turning an attempted attack into a testament of resilience. As night fell, the fields settled into stillness, the reservoir reflecting the stars above, and the wind whispered through the trees. The farm breathed, secure and unchallenged, a living testament to strategy, foresight, and unwavering guardianship. The HOA had tested me once more, but the outcome was unmistakable. My policies, preparation, and deliberate action ensured that intrusion, interference, and assumed authority would always meet resistance grounded in knowledge, strategy, and rightful control. By the time the farm lights dimmed and the lodge settled into quiet, I felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The regulation, which had arrived with threats and penalties, had been transformed into a lesson. Power assumed without preparation can never prevail, and audacity faced with foresight will always falter. The farm, its legacy, and its operations remained intact, secure, and untouchable.